ladies and gents. This is Kaci Campbell, and you're listening to It's Tempting. You better buckle up. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to It's Tempting. I'm so excited because my best friend, former castmate, partner in crime, Nicole Kay, is finally on the pod. Welcome to It's Tempting.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
I know. We are together all the time, so.
Literally, I can't believe we haven't done this already, you guys. So I think you're going to be excited because we're going to talk about things we've never talked about publicly.
It just always becomes unfiltered when we talk.
Always becomes unfiltered.
Natural.
Okay, so I feel like our lives, people are fascinated. So the past few months, what have we been up to?
I mean, why are they fascinated? Because we literally went through the toughest time of our life on TV. So
literally,
they see the transformation and
the transformation, which we're going to get into that later, you guys. So we watched our season together, or like half of it last night, and woo, we are different humans.
It was embarrassing.
I was cringing. She was cringing. It's wild. But before we get into that, wait, what's your password? I can edit this part out.
There you go.
Okay, you guys. So I just want to talk about what we've kind of been up to the past few months, because that's something that I get a lot of DMs about because we've been all over the place. You guys know, like, I'm born and raised LA. Nicole is from Minnesota but has lived in Chicago, but she was in LA for a while. So yeah, we started out, what, Super Bowl?
When we reconnected, or
that was when we like we've
always
like stayed in touch, and we always go on trips and stuff, but we really been like consistently together, I think, since Super Bowl.
Yeah, because I've lived on an airplane and just came and saw you every other month.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a choice.
And
ultimately.
I know, literally. And Super Bowl, I feel like, has kind of turned into our thing, because this past Super Bowl we were in Scottsdale. The Super Bowl before we were in LA.
Yeah.
Right? It's been like our little vibe.
Yeah.
She said, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened in between, but
this is true. So yeah, you guys, we were in Super Bowl, and she decided that she wanted to try out LA for a while, and I was so stoked.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if I didn't have friends there, because I almost moved to Miami.
Yeah, and I didn't want you to do that. Which is weird, because now I moved.
Selfishly, she didn't want me to do that.
I know.
But I was already traveling so much anyways. I was ready for a change. You can just feel your body pushing you when it's ready for a change, whether it's anything, whether it's your career or your relationship, whatever it may be. So moving to me, I was like, I need to be in a new environment.
Yeah.
You get like so stimulated when you're in a new environment and you have change. So being in LA the last 3 months was so amazing. It made me realize, okay, I want to come back and get a little bit more settled here.
Yeah, she loved it, you guys, which is so weird, because on that same kind of note, how, you know, like when your body's ready for a change and you need a change. I'm born and raised in LA, and I needed to get the fuck out. I was like, my body, my mental health, everything about it was like, I need something different. I need a new environment. I need a new place, which kind of sucked because like her and Katie both came at the same time. But I don't know. I'll always go back. My family's there.
I mean, the world is your oyster.
I was going to say.
You can move. You can do whatever you want. If you believe that you can, if you have determination, you can literally do whatever you want.
You guys, look at, she's being inspiring already. Like 5 minutes in.
I just feel like that's the only way I think. So I'm like, okay, you're in Miami now, cool. Like I'm going to Europe this summer, and I'm like, maybe I'm gonna stay over there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I meet my husband over there. Who knows? Like maybe an opportunity presents itself. Like just being closed-minded will not get you as far in life. Being open-minded and thinking, okay, wherever it leads me. Is going to bring us so much further.
And that's actually when you came to LA and I saw like how you were moving and like how you were just like kind of winging it but like making it happen. That's what inspired me to be like, fuck it. Like I'm getting in my car and driving across the country to Florida. Like I'm just doing it.
And as you should.
And it's been working. So I don't know. I just think like if you know what you want to do with your life, just go with the flow, listen to your gut, and everything will fall into place the way it's meant to.
Yeah, and even if you don't know what you want to do, just start doing one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Like step after step, and it'll figure itself out.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, we've been in LA together the last few months. It's been amazing, honestly. Katie's been with us as well, and we've had a lot of memories, a lot of good times. And then we both came to South Florida. And now we've been here for what, like 3 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, my family lives here. So my brothers moved down here. And so it was just natural that I'm like, okay, I'm in between my brother's house and Miami to hang out with you before I go to Europe. And I was like, it doesn't feel like we even left each other.
No. And I love it too, because coming here, I was like, oh, like it's not that scary because I have you.
Yeah. You know? And you have the connection of the other people that we
exactly. It's been great. Yeah. So that's kind of what we've been up to. You know, this year's been so much fun. I feel like we had like New Year's and then Super Bowl, and then we've been in LA, and now we've been in Florida. She's about to go off to Europe. If I get my passport in time, but long story short, my passport expired, and I've been like a nomad. So trying to get this thing shipped to the correct address has kind of been a fucking nightmare.
How about when we go somewhere and like the clerk or anybody's like, so what's your address? I'm like, well, I live on an airplane.
Literally.
Or you meet someone new in person and they're like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, well, I'm from Minnesota. I lived in Chicago, but then I was in LA, and now like I don't live anywhere technically because I'm going to Europe, and it's just like this whole thing, and they're like, what the fuck?
Hers is even crazier than mine, because mine is like, they'll ask me like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from LA. They're like, oh, like how long are you here for? And I'm like, oh, like I think I'm here for the summer, but like I might stay longer, but like I don't know what neighborhood I want to live in, but like maybe I'll go back to LA, might go to Europe.
That's like a traditional move though. Like whenever you move somewhere, you're always just feeling it out right away.
You're like literally on an airplane.
Well, I mean, in LA, I was pretty settled. Like I got an Airbnb, I got a car, I had my dog. Now I'm really just going day to day.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. So that's what we've been up to. Let's talk about dating.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dude, it's a nightmare. How do you like LA, Min? Did I exaggerate, or is it as bad as I told you it was?
To be honest, like when you and my other friend told me what it was like dating, I was like, you guys just need to put yourself out there. It's not really like that. Then I got to LA, and I realized people in LA, this is what they're like. They just want you to come over. Yeah. They're on the come over vibe. Yeah. I'm like, look.
Literally.
Honey.
Honey.
I'm not on the come over vibe. Like, I literally have told people, like, you know, they say their aggressive shit that they want to say. They're going to take you home, blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm here to date, and I'm 30, so don't play with me. I've gotten so much since I've been in LA, like, oh my God, you're 30? You look like you're 25. I'm like, no, I'm 30. Don't fuck with me. Yeah. I know what I'm doing, and you're not going to be able to manipulate me. I mean, we went through this shit already. So
snaps.
It's just been interesting to see how people move in LA. Yeah. But I think it's also been super inspiring to be in LA because everybody is so focused on their career. Like no one's it seems like people don't really put a relationship or somebody that they're trying to get to know. Like they won't spend time courting a woman because they're way too focused spending time on their business. So it is motivating because it's like, okay, these people are grinding. Everybody's out here to make money. And it makes you motivated.
100%.
But I think when I got to LA, I just realized like, okay, this isn't the time or phase in my life where I need to be exerting a lot of energy on dating. But if I meet people out in person, I'm not going to be closed off. I'll, you know, entertain, feel the energy, go with my gut, but I'm not going to go out of my way to have a lot of dates set up when I have to be focused on what I'm doing because at the end of the day, these people are probably not going to prioritize me.
Yeah. I think it's so funny because I think I've been open about the fact where I'm like either I'll go out on the weekend and like have a great time, but everyone knows like I'm a homebody. So I think it's funny how you're like, oh, like maybe she's not putting herself out there. And then you like came and experienced the type of men that we have in LA and you're like, okay, actually she's not bullshit.
I will say I've literally never got hit on as much as being in LA. It's like, you're like a shiny object. It's like people know I'm not from there. It's like, oh, fresh meat.
Yeah, they can tell. They can tell.
Oh, of course, because I said this the other day. I'm like too organic to be in a big city. No, I love being in big cities, but like I don't have any plastic. I don't have you know that look. And not saying that everybody's like that, but at the same time, I'm like. People be like, where are you from?
They can definitely tell you're not
You're
from
nice.
there.
You're reserved. Like you are different.
Plus, like you also, like when you first came here, you were entertaining like the dating world, you know? And I kept telling you, it's like, these guys are bullshitting. Like these guys are bullshitting.
Well, I just realized they can take up a lot of your time.
100%.
So, yeah, I think a couple weeks in, I realized, it's not for me. It's funny because I entered this year, I made a vision board and everything that this was going to be the year I had a boyfriend. Yeah. I even had like a guy on there with like a ring potentially and like a dog.
You made it like a very specific list, right? Like all the traits.
And everything. It was visual. It was a photo and it was on the background of my phone for a long time.
Aw, I love that.
But then when I got to LA, I was like, you know what? This might just be the year of building my business and continuing to be free, because there's no rush to be in a relationship. So now when I meet guys now and they're like, what are you looking for? What are your intentions? I'm like, look, I'm building my business and I'm traveling the world. I'm doing things for me and I'm seeing what falls in alignment along the way.
Fuck yes. Literally, that's how you have to live your life. That's kind of what I talked about with Iris in my first episode. It's like there's no time limit. As like women especially, but also just in our generation, everyone's like, oh, you got to do like this by this time. It's like, no, like fuck that. Shit's going to come together when it's meant to be together. You need to like listen to your soul, just do your journey, and whatever is meant to be and what is going to align with what you're meant to do, like your future husband, your career, it's all going to happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Got to stop forcing things.
Yeah.
Okay, so along that line of like dating in LA is pretty tough. But I will say before we like can completely change the subject, one thing I do like that you said is like being in a big city, especially in LA, it really pushes you to like go for it all. You know, because you have like other people that are hustling and like going after their dreams, and it's like almost like a competitive thing. It's like you can't just like sit there and not make shit happen, because it almost feels like, I don't know, you're just like not reaching your potential. That's one of my biggest fears, is like not reaching and surpassing my potential. And growing up in a big city, that's like all I've ever known. So it's interesting having you come here and also like immediately feeling that in LA, just like the competition and like you got to like just hustle and keep building yourself up.
I love it. Like having a strong support system, people around you that are going to push you is like so important in life. And that even when I left LA, I love being with my family, but I was like just with my family in a small town. I wasn't doing the same things. And I was like, wow, I feel like lazy. I feel bored. Like not bored, but I just was like, it's not the same. I don't feel as motivated and inspired if there was someone here doing what I do. And also there's something about seeing somebody who's similar to you. Yeah. Reaching a goal, and then you're like, it feels like so much closer in reach.
I was just gonna say, it makes it so attainable when you see people in your circle, or like in your circle that are reaching these goals, and you're like, okay, if they can do it, like I can definitely do it. And it makes it so you go even harder.
Which is, again, back to a support system. I tell my clients this all the time, you know, for their fitness journey. Like if you have a strong support system, you're just going to succeed so much better. And it doesn't, you know, eventually you might lose friends, but you're going to regain the right friends. Yeah,
that's like something that I've struggled with is like in the past is because I don't know, you know me, like I'm so friendly and like I want to think the best in people. But then I'm like, a lot of the time when you're trying to reach certain goals, not everyone is meant to go the places that you're going, you know? And it's like there's no hard feelings or anything, but it's just sometimes you just go to a different level than other people.
Right. It can be a phase. Yeah. Or like a stage in your life, and you leave it there. You don't have to bring everyone along the way.
Having a good support system and an inner circle that like understands your dreams and like doesn't, like I used to have friends. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say a long time ago. This hasn't been very recent, but I used to have friends where I would talk about what I wanted to do and like my aspirations and where I saw myself, and they would make me feel like I was crazy, and that's so out of reach. Like that's never going to happen. Like you got to get like practical. You have to surround yourself with your inner circle and your support system with people that are like, you are 100% capable of doing that. Like, let's make a game plan.
Yeah, I know. You know? You and me and Katie.
We always make game plans.
Yeah, but you and me and Katie have been such a strong support system for each other these last few months. And it's just crazy. That's one thing I said to people when I moved to LA. Like, it's been so easy to transition because I had close friends there. Like, it wasn't just acquaintances or people I met in my industry. I had like 3 at least really tight girlfriends that I've known for at least 5 years.
Yeah, we've been friends a minute. One thing that I loved so much. So I've talked about this on the pod and on Instagram and whatnot. Like I quit my 9-to-5 a few months ago. It was like terrifying. And I've not been doing a 9. I know, she's clapping. So one of the first month was like pretty scary, you guys, because I like was getting my savings in order. I had a shit ton of bills. I'm trying to travel. I was trying to move. So the first month was pretty tight. And during that first month, we went to Revolve, and I was kind of having some anxiety. I was like branding the podcast. I had a lot going on, and I will never forget this. And I love you so much. I was in the bedroom, like by myself, kind of like decompressing, and I could hear her and Katie like in the kitchen. And one thing about us, you guys, we don't ever like keep things from each other. We're very honest with each other, even if it's like a hard conversation. Yeah. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah.
So like I'm in the bedroom by myself, but I could hear them and they're like literally talking about me. And Nicole's like, she just needs like a little push. Like she just needs to be pushed a little bit.
I was not whispering either.
No.
I'm like, I hope she hears me right now.
I heard the whole thing.
I'm like, this bitch needs to come out tonight because she needs to network. And I know it's what she wants to do, even though she wants to stay at home.
Yeah.
She needs a push. She needs a support system. She needs support on this.
I loved it. I was like, I have such good friends, man. And I love that it's like, I didn't get offended. Like I wasn't upset. It's just like, I have friends that like know what I'm capable of, know my potential. And you guys like are helping me get there.
Yeah.
It was like so nice. And then when I went out there, you guys were asking me, they're like, okay, like what are you doing to like do the podcast? And I was like, each day I'm getting like 1% better. Like I'm planning this. And like I was telling you guys my game plan. And then Katie was like, okay, so like, yeah, like you are like figuring it out. Like she was surprised. And like I was like telling you what my plan is. And it was just so nice. I was like, okay, like I'm on the right track. Like it's still hard, but like I'm glad I have friends that can call me out and like help me figure out like A, B, C, and D.
A, B, C, and D.
You know, like it was so nice. And none of us get offended.
No, I mean, I just feel like we're grown.
Yeah, we're grown. We're grown.
Just like for what? I had a friend the other day that I'm like, wow, it sounds like you have a lot of drama in your life. And I was just like,
dude, we don't though.
No, not them. I said to them, I'm like, it seems like they have a lot of drama in their life. And I'm like, I just can't comprehend because I don't have any drama in my life and I haven't for a while. And maybe there's situations that happen here or there that like throw you off or make you irritated. But I'm like, I don't have anyone in my circle or that I communicate with daily or weekly or monthly
where we have like issues
that is causing me stress on my mental health and emotional health because that's so important. And I feel like you and I, of course, especially going through Temptation Island, we just have a whole new respect for it of deal with it. Having like I've had friends where I'm like, you know what, maybe you're entertaining something that's not good for you. I'm gonna let you figure it out on your own. But the moment it starts affecting your mental health, I can't support it.
100%.
But it's a slippery slope. A lot of things are a slippery slope. Like
boundaries.
No, I just even like, you know, all this like sugar daddy, whatever that is, that sugar baby situation. Okay, there's people doing it, but you know, everything in life is a slippery slope. So you have to be on your shit. You need to act in alignment with yourself.
You have to know yourself.
Whatever you're doing, just don't get too far away from what your values are.
Exactly. What your values are and who you are. So along that line, before we get off like dating and all this, your perfect man, like what do you look for in a man? Because like, you know me, like you guys, I am almost at the point where I feel like my standards are almost too high because I literally put up with like nothing. Like it's almost like I need like the perfect dude. Otherwise I want like nothing to do with you. And I feel like that has to kind of be a trauma response because of everything I dealt with in the past.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I need it to be like all your ducks are in a fucking row.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't need to pursue you. Like I'll show you I'm interested and like I'm down, but like you need to do the work and you need to make shit happen. Like I ain't doing shit.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think it's important. I was just talking to someone about this the other day. If somebody's not self-aware of what they need to work on, because we all have things we want to work on, right?
Facts.
So if you haven't done your due diligence of figuring out what it is you like want in life, I can't be dating somebody that doesn't know what they want because how am I going to figure them out if they don't know what they want?
Yeah.
But so like even I feel like that's a younger thing. Like
yeah,
I feel it's funny because now at this age I'm 30 and I find myself meeting men that are maybe 28 or 29 and I'm like, whoa, I've never talked to a guy that's younger than me.
Yeah.
And so then I'm just sitting there like, maybe this is what happens when you get older. Like
it's crazy.
When you get into your 30s, you start maybe dating people that are younger or maybe your same age versus people that are older.
Yeah.
Because there's men out there that are 40 and like have not worked on themselves. You know what I mean?
No.
Never been married, never whatever.
They're almost worse than younger guys.
And so that's why I'm saying, okay, maybe some of these 28-year-olds are actually a catch.
Yeah.
But have they worked on themselves and done the things they need to do? And yeah, they don't need to be all the way there. But
I was going to say,
how self-aware are they?
They don't need to be perfect, but it's the self-aware and like being able to grow with me, I think is what I'm really looking for personally. Like I need to find someone that's like self-aware, that like has goals, that's driven, that has like a good heart, but is also wanting to like hustle and like grow with me and like be on the same level and be like a power couple.
Yeah.
And if they're not that, like I'm good single. Like truly.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so weird because I never thought I would say that because even on on TI when we were watching. I was all like, oh my God, I can't wait to get married and have kids. Now, dude, fuck it. We're going to get into that, you guys. Oh, it's so bad. But now, like, you know me. Like, when I say, like, I'm good single, like, you believe me, right?
I think, yes, I do. But I think this is part of having a strong support system because I think we're all like this.
We're all like this.
And I just think it comes with maturity and it comes with knowing yourself and your standards and your values and your self-worth. And we didn't have some of that stuff for a long time. We did not. And we were talking about this earlier. I think a lot of people go through that, especially in their 20s, where they lose sight of themselves. And now it's like, okay, I have it all back and then some.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I just need to find... One, my standards are high because I know what I can provide. So if 100%. He needs to be right there with me in terms of like his career, his mental health, like I'm sorry, but I feel pretty established. And if you're not established in your career yet, maybe you want more, but I need you to be kind of at a certain level because I'm not trying to pick up the scraps. At this point in time, I've done that before.
Been there, done that.
So many times. And I'm like, no, I deserve somebody who's on my level.
Yeah.
And I also want somebody who is literally going to be inspiring as fuck to me because I need someone. I want somebody pushing me for the rest of my life, and I feel like I'm doing well. But if I have a partner that's like, "Oh, you're only thinking this big. You need to be thinking this big," and I'm like, "That's exactly the person that I want to be with."
Yep.
And I just feel like that's a very unique feeling. Like when I meet men right now, I can just tell when they're moving or operating. But then I meet these other guys that are almost like extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. Like
and
the
you're
amount
inspired by them.
I'm so inspired. I'm like the amount of shit that I could learn from you.
Yeah.
And it's so attractive and it would like turn me on and be I guarantee committed for life because it's just like I wouldn't never want to lose that.
No. Yeah, it's so rare. And you would, I think you'll relate to this. Like, now I feel like such peace. It's like, I'm not going to have anyone in my life that's going to fuck with my peace.
Oh my God, yeah. That's literally like my MO of life. Yeah. Like, how can I be the most peaceful version of myself? Like, when I was going to therapy, I just told her, like, I want to be one of those people that is, like, so at peace.
Yeah.
That they don't let their emotions get to them. I think it is important to feel your emotions. I learned that through Temptation Island and through life, but I just don't want someone to rock me off something. No. If somebody walks in the room and says something to try to offend me, it's like, I'm good. Like, I'm at peace.
Yeah.
You can't really disrupt this bubble that I've built for myself because I've worked so hard at it.
You know who you are. You know what you're about. And no one's going to mess that up.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. You guys, your support system, your circle, very important. We can attest to that. Okay. So let's get on to TI. Okay. Because we know a lot of people are listening to this for that. It's tempting. Before we get into our season, because you guys, we were both shook on our season, but we did also watch the first episode of season 5 together. What were your first thoughts? Like, what's your impression? I want to hear like what you were thinking because we didn't really talk too much about it. We did a little bit, but I want to know like your true and without me like influencing you at all.
I think immediately I was trying to figure out, okay, what couple reminds me of what I was like?
Yeah.
And I think it was, I don't remember their names.
I'll remember.
Isabel or
Maricela?
Maricela and her boyfriend.
Yep, they remind me of you a little bit.
Yeah, so I think when they were telling their stories in the introduction, I was like, okay, that's an interesting story. Like, they're engaged. They're not married. That couple, like when I think about it left.
Caitlin and Hall. Yeah, they're the one that are engaged.
Yeah, Caitlin and Hall, I was like, okay, that's an interesting story. I don't think that's been on Temptation Island before. So that's cool. They brought it in. Yeah. I was thinking of it from like I think as the season goes on, I'm going to think about it more from their emotional health standpoint.
Yeah.
But like just up front, I was like, oh, wow, the directors casted people differently. You know? Like every season they casted people differently. So when they were introducing themselves, I'm like, okay, this is like a new story, which is going to be intriguing because there's probably a lot of people in this world that could relate to that.
Yeah.
The next couple.
So we just talked about Maricel and Chris, which remind you a little bit of you. We talked about the engaged couple, Caitlin and Hall. What about Vanessa and Roberto, the 10-year gap, the age difference couple?
Oh, yeah. So that one seemed like a wreck.
That's a nice way of putting it. We both were just like, it's so toxic.
I was like, it's like past the point of toxic in my eyes.
It is. It's past the point of toxic.
And so it's just like, it's so cringy.
Yeah.
But like, it's also sad. Like it's only the first episode, but I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah.
And this is what I said. I'm like, it seems like she's his mom.
Yeah.
It's very much like, mother-son relationship, which is like sad because a partnership
shouldn't be like
that. And I mean, that's just my opinion, whatever. Maybe there are relationships out there like that in the world, but I'm like, he's like a boy. Let him grow into his own.
Yeah.
So it reminds me kind of like how Carl and I were, how Carl kept trying to teach me.
And your age.
He tried to teach me how I need to be.
Yeah.
And like without like, and just always disregarding my feelings.
Yeah.
So I could never grow into myself and be my best self because somebody was like holding me under their thumb.
Down your throat. Like who you should,
And it's just, it's almost just like, it's a compatibility issue. Yeah. Like maybe she's, you know, I don't know, maybe she's a great human being, but in the dynamic that they're in,
it's not good.
It just doesn't look healthy. And it's like, because she's trying to mold him.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was telling you, I'm like, a lot of men do this actually. They try to mold you, control you, manipulate you. And I feel like with their situation, it's actually the opposite.
Which is interesting because you don't see that very often.
But
so
maybe
interesting.
You know, now that we're in our 30s,
I know.
Maybe this is what happens when you start dating younger men.
I know.
And the women get into a power trip and date men that are 20. Like, I'm sorry. How are they again? 35?
34 and 24.
I would never. Like, I'm like, you're not, this is to my point. You're not grown into yourself. No. So how could you provide or be compatible with me?
Yeah. And that's kind of what I said, you guys, in last week was my solo episode. And I was going in on them to the point I almost felt bad. But like, this is my thing. I hear what she's saying. Like, you have standards and you want to provide her and protect her. With that, yeah. And we agree with that. However, before you decided to get into a committed relationship, exclusive long-term relationship with a 24-year-old man that you like think has potential and doesn't reach your standards, like you guys needed to have some serious conversations before you decided to be exclusive and commit to each other, because you're clearly not on the same page.
Well, that's the thing, potential.
Yeah, like you're dating potential.
Do we live for potential, or do we find somebody that's a good match for us?
You don't date potential. That's like rule 101, and it's a disaster.
I mean, I don't know her past or background, but maybe she went through something where she still has to grow from it. Anyway, I feel like obviously that's the couple that you could talk about forever.
So I'm glad we were both on the same page, because I even warned her before we watched it. I was like, there's this one couple and I feel like I really went in on them, but it's just like it's my opinion. And then she watched it and had the same opinion. So I was like, okay, I'm glad it's not just me.
What about the other couple, the really beautiful girl?
Oh, Paris and Great. They're from Africa. She's young. She's 23. She wants to get married and have kids right away, but he's cheated on her numerous times.
She is gorgeous, first of all.
Stunning.
But second of all, it's just so funny because when I was watching them tell their story, he was already shaking his head before she could even speak. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a problem.
Not cute.
I'm like, he is so insecure.
Yeah.
I can just tell he's insecure, and it's ruining the relationship.
Plus, like for me, and I said this before, I just think when someone's really in love with you and really wants to be with you, it's like they're not going to cheat on you numerous times.
He kind of reminded me of Carl a little, because it was like he was shaking his head before she could even speak.
He reminded me of Evan a little bit too.
Oh, well, I mean, Carl and Evan have a lot of similarities. Yeah.
I'm done. We'll get into that later. But yeah, no, they did. He's not giving me good. I'm just like, oh, and one thing I did notice too. So when they walk into the villa, and it's just something I noticed because it's a huge pet peeve of mine, and it's like not everyone that does this is a narcissist, but it's like a narcissist trait. When they walk way in front of their partner, like 5-6 feet in front. When they went into the villa, all the couples were like hand in hand together, and he was like 6 feet ahead of her, and she was like tripping in her heels in the grass, and I'm just like, yo, like that's not cool. I didn't like that at all.
I didn't notice that, but that reminds me of like when they were doing the cocktail party.
Yeah.
That was so cool. I'm like, I wish it's drama, right? Yeah. Like I wish ours would have been like that, because what did we do? We just did something completely different. It's crazy to see the seasons evolve, because well, we'll get into that more, but just that cocktail party, I was like, this was a risky way to do it, and I love it, risky way to do because it's more entertaining and like dramatic. Yeah. But yeah, just the way that they were all interacting was so weird. But I was gonna say, even who's the white couple?
Caitlin and
Hall, they just like when Caitlin went to go find her boyfriend, and she went over to him and he was like walking away from her.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, it's gonna start.
Yeah.
But also we know what editing is in this world.
That's the thing.
So we're watching it with a different lens.
Yeah. That was one thing I noticed when we were watching not even just season 5 together, but our season. We're so used to how reality TV works now. We already know like who's going to be in the final 4. Yeah. We know like who's going to be a villain. We know it's like, okay, that was edited to make it look this a certain way. Like this is going to happen next. We know it so well, like the editing and production standpoint of it.
It's kind of cool because I'm like, cool. I don't want it to judge my like perception, but at the same time, I just have like an inside
We
scoop.
definitely know how it works.
Inside scoop.
Yeah. So the changes on season 5. So the first big change was that all the couples got to stay together in one villa together that first night. What were your thoughts on that? I thought that was kind of cool.
I think it was cool because it almost built up the hype.
Yeah.
Like the way they did the first episode is like it built up the hype of how close the couples were, and then they tore them apart.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot more dramatic because it was like, okay, they all just spent this time together. We got the stories, like they got and then it was like, okay, now go into a cocktail hour with all these people you're gonna be dating, and it was like, oh, you guys don't know how to act because you were just really connected with your partner. There's more drama. Yep. You don't feel disconnected from your partner yet.
Yeah.
And it was just like the first experience.
Because want to know what it reminded me of? You know how when the first week of like production on TI, you're not with the singles. You're just with the couples. And like we got really close. Like on our season, all 8 of us, because we were together all the time. We were in vans together. We were like filming. Remember when we were in like that van and we were like talking about like going to each other's weddings one day, possibly.
Oh, ew.
So that's what I'm saying, though. It's like we were all so close, like taking shots, talking about weddings, and then like imagine like spending the night together, like partying, hanging out, and then like boom, next day we're like with the singles. That's crazy. Like I can't imagine that. That's pretty wild.
I like it.
It's drama.
Yeah, they brought the drama.
It makes good for television for sure.
I do think like some of the couples seem.
I don't get real vibes. I even and I feel bad saying that.
I feel like Caitlin and Hall seem real.
They seem real, but
no, I feel like they all have a history. You can tell,
but they're getting the way they're acting is so weird to me.
Like what?
Like for example, like what? Like you kind of just said it when they're at the joint cocktail party with all the singles, which I guess I get it because you're signed up for the show and you know what you signed up for. But I just feel like they're too casual about it almost. The way like people are like coming up to your girl and like grabbing your girl and flirting with her and spitting game. And you're just standing there sipping your drink and just like don't give a fuck.
Here's the difference. Like from our season to now, these people know what they're getting into, right?
Yeah, very true.
And when we went on there, I was paranoid as fuck. Like when we rewatched our season, I was like, whoa, I know I'm not saying. I was like, I'm not even speaking. I'm a mute. And I'm running away from the situation. I'd be like, there'd be a scene and I'd be like, where am I? And I was like, oh yeah, I was hiding in the bathroom because I didn't want to be filmed because I didn't know what I was getting into. Now it's like, okay, these people know. So like them being at that cocktail hour, they probably had a strategy and approach. Like,
you're right.
What's oh my God, I should have remembered the people's names. The girl who's 34 or 35.
Vanessa and Roberto.
So Vanessa, like when she was, talking to the other girls, like tapping their ass, like, I'm not going to lie, that was like a confident power move to be like, well, my man likes asses, so what does yours look like?
But and then like play smacked it.
The play smacking, I'm like, is it worth it? Is she trying to intimidate her?
She was doing something
like make her scared of her a little bit.
I think she was trying to intimidate her.
I'm like, that bitch knows what she's doing.
100%.
She had a strategy going in, and she's like, you know what, I know what my man likes. She even said, I'm gonna scope out my competition. And so it's like there is a strategy. They know what's up.
It's a game. You're right, because it's season 5 now. It's like they've like studied the shit out of these shows. Like there's no way they haven't watched all the seasons.
I mean, it's good they're switching it up though, because people think they're getting into one thing, but they didn't know they're going to a cocktail hour. And production and Temptation Island has to switch it up, otherwise it would just get boring.
Like that's literally what I said in my last episode, my solo episode. I was like, we know like the blueprint for TI now. It's like the same shit every year. We need something different, and I do like that about this season.
Yeah, I just remember season 2 after ours was like night and day. It was like so different, right? And then I feel like 3 and 4 calmed down a little bit. Like they were almost like kind of low key. Were they boring a little? And I don't know if there was as many viewers. Like what are the stats? Like
they're not good.
Yeah, well, they're just the stats aren't as good. I don't feel like it was as much hype.
No, facts, they're not as good.
And well, to be honest, like more reality shows came out too. Like that took over. Now Netflix has way more reality shows, which are obviously going to get more publicity. Too Hot to Handle, like those things are going to just.
Too Hot to Handle's a vibe.
They're just going to overpower something like Temptation Island because people want to see hot, sexy singles.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that Temptation Island is switching it up to make it like
they need to be able to compete with these other shows.
Yeah, to make it drama.
We're falling behind.
Because
if we're being honest.
If you go back to season 1, like ours seemed so innocent.
Okay, that is what I want to talk about too. I still want to talk about the last little change that was on season 5, but while we're on this. So you guys, we watched season 5, the episode 1 last night. No, like earlier in the day, right? And then we watched our season. You guys, the difference between season 5 and our season, even just like the first half of our season, is so insane.
Well,
it's so wild to see.
It's just different. And like, you can see the things Temptation Island, like, trial and errored with that did not work.
Oh,
like
my
our
God.
necklaces that we got on the first
were so embarrassing.
There was just some things they did on our season that it was like clearly that wasn't sticky enough.
Yeah.
The viewers didn't like it, the cast didn't like it, and it didn't work. So now it's like obviously they're on season 5, they have a lot more
our
data.
Outfits. Okay, one thing that we both noticed is like us as girlfriends, they were very particular about what we had to wear. Okay, like every morning they would come into our room, we would give them like 3 different options, and then they would always pick like the most innocent girly fucking option, okay? And it was annoying as hell. So the 4 of us would always be in like a sundress and like bright colors and like flats, you know?
Flats.
And then they would put, which is like in real life, none of us dress like that, okay? None of us. And then they would put the single girls in these like smoking hot like leather skirts, like see-through tops, black high heels, and it was like bullshit. Like I fucking hated that watching the season. Like,
I don't know. I liked having a good little rep there. Like
I mean, they made us look like
very
angels.
Innocent, and I was like,
we did.
I like it, but
you could tell. Different. Yeah, the difference between the single girls and us was like drastic, and I didn't really realize how drastic it was until we rewatched the season. And then watching season 5, it's like everyone is just dressing like hot as fuck.
Yeah. And
you know,
it's more. There's more like diversity. There's more creativity. They let people like. It seems like they let people like express themselves a little bit more throughout the seasons. Like even season 2. Yeah. Like after our season, I feel like there was a shift. Yeah. In terms of letting people like express their creativity a little bit more.
Okay. 2 other changes I want to talk about for season 5. There's less singles, so there's only 8 single girls and 8 single guys.
It's a game changer.
Big game changer.
Game changer.
So there's like pros and cons to it though, because
you don't have as many options.
Yep, because you have to keep in mind there's 4 girls, okay, and there's only 8 guys. So there's not as many options.
And they cast the singles based on what the couple's like.
Exactly.
So for example, if there's 4 women and there's 8 guys, there's only probably 2 of them that were handpicked for you.
Yep.
So now you only have 2 people to pick from instead of 8.
Exactly.
Because like the other 6 are not going to be your type.
Yes.
2 of them are your type. Now you have to figure out if you even like them. So it's just like, it's a forceful game of like, okay, I probably wouldn't even be interested in this person in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also it's kind of like, okay, but they're your type. So maybe there's things you can pick their brain on. Yeah. And just figure out along the way.
Plus, like, production, it's not even just based on looks. Like, they literally, like, psychologically match you up. So,
your personality is what you're looking for.
Yes.
Remember they asked us, like, who's your celebrity crush?
Yep.
What are you looking for? What do you value? What does your partner not have that you wish that there was? It's like,
and then they cast someone that checks all those boxes.
Yeah, so when people have been reaching out to us the last few years of, like, oh, I was going to interview for Temptation Island. What are your thoughts? And I'm like, well, I have a lot of thoughts, first of all.
A lot of thoughts.
And 2, like, it's not really about it necessarily being you being casted. It's more of like, are you a good fit for the other people that are on the show?
Yeah.
So if somebody does like have an interview with Temptation Island and they don't get casted, I'm like, you probably just weren't a good fit for it.
Yeah, don't take it personally at all.
It's probably not you. Maybe you would have been great, but you don't match the couples.
Yeah.
And the couples are harder to pick than the singles.
Yeah. Because what they do is they cast the couples first. So they want all the couples to have very different stories, and they all want the couples to want different types of people. They also need the couples to be able to vibe and make good television together. So then they cast the couples first, and then they like cast the singles based on which couples got cast. So yeah, you shouldn't ever think like, oh, like why didn't I get cast? It's literally like you have to match and like psychologically and physically and romantically match up and be able to make good television with the couples that are already cast.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, there's only 8, which is like pros we finally get to know all the singles, because in the past there's singles there's literally singles that you don't even like, they're never on the show.
Yeah, they never are aired.
You literally don't even know. You're like, who is that? Which is kind of sad and bummy.
It just is like overwhelming. Like as a couple, you feel like, oh, there's 12 people. Like it's even more pressure.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, okay, we're saying, oh, there's more options, but I think at the end of the day, when these people come into it, they really want their relationship to work.
Yeah.
But it's just, so in the beginning, they're not thinking, oh, I want a lot of, they don't care about the options, really. Yeah. I don't think, like, as the couples. So they don't have that perspective on it of like, oh, there's less. Yeah. So it's not as overwhelming.
Yeah. Because I remember when we met the 12 guys, it was so overwhelming having 12 guys just like surrounding us. And, like, everyone talking to us at the same time.
I feel like you were a little more prepared for Temptation Island than me. Like, you knew, you were like, we're here, we're ready to go on dates. Yeah. Like, I know what we're getting into. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, what did I sign up for?
You were so different than you are now.
I was like a mute. Yeah. It was so interesting to rewatch it.
It was a lot. So, also with the singles on season 5, there's no cheesy like lineup.
Oh, thank God.
I know, it's the worst. Walk up, say your name, your age, and some weird pickup line. Like, thank God. I like this new concept.
Yeah, true. But I'm like, at this point, I don't even know. You know, you don't know who we didn't get to see them all yet. Like,
well, they did
it was
like
just the cocktail hour, right?
They did those like during the cocktail hour. They did the little snippets where it was like a confessional interview instead.
Oh,
you know, where it was like, "Hi, my name's Kaci. Like, I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm 33." And it was like a cute. It was more like personal, like confessional, instead of like game show vibe. You know?
Yeah.
Which I kind of liked, but yeah, you're right. It was a little bit harder to get to know them that way.
Yeah. It's more organic.
Yeah, this is, 100%. So we didn't see this in season 5 yet because there's only been one episode, but we did see it in like the Instagram, like little trailers and teasers. What do you think about the fucking light that lights up every time someone hooks up? Because I have strong opinions on it. And I know you do too.
It's from Too Hot to Handle, right?
It's embarrassing. Why are we copying other shows?
Yeah.
You know, like, I get it. Like, we want more drama. And, like, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be dramatic when it's lighting up. And, like, you're like, oh, shit, like, someone's hooking up. But it's like, why are we copying? Like, it's so embarrassing.
It's different. Maybe it lights up for a different reason.
No, it lights up when people hook up.
Oh, yeah, that's trash. I think
she said, oh, yeah, that's trash.
They just, like, that's so not creative. Like, this is why you're not going to have more viewers. I mean, I don't know the data, but at the same time, like, let's do something different and new.
Yeah. No, I hate that they're copying Too Hot to Handle. As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, we needed to hire people that can come up with better ideas than
at the same time, like, you know, replicate things in life that do work. It's like a best practice, right?
Yeah.
Like, we know it worked on this show, so we're going to integrate it into our show, but at least do it in a different way.
In your own way.
Not
Make it your own.
Light.
Not plagiarize like a whole other show. Like, yeah, like, I don't like that. I like the concept. I respect what they're trying to do, but I immediately was like, dude, it's too hot to handle.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Yeah, I just think they should have done something different in a creative way. But we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, anything else about season 5 before? Do we have any hope for the couples? Both of us said no.
No, because we've been through it, and I just think away we just are like...
There's no way any of these couples are making it. I would be shocked.
I think the only one that I said maybe would be...
Caitlin and Hall?
Yeah.
Which even them, though, because...
I don't think they're going to make it, but
because she's not even making wedding plans. She knows in her heart he's not the right guy.
I think for anyone to actually stay together on Temptation Island, you need to have a full transformation within yourself because there's a reason your relationship wasn't working.
Yep.
And it's really hard to have that full transformation on the show when you're really only filming for a month.
Yeah.
And maybe you just start to tap into what you need to change. But that work is going to take years.
Yeah.
It's just like the real world, like going to therapy, working with your partner on problems you have, and fixing it to create a new cycle and dynamic between each other. That shit doesn't happen overnight. You can't just be like, oh, this is the issue and I'm going to change. No, you have to change all your behaviors, all your habits. You have to go back home and see if it works. So it's just like...
And you have to put that into practice for years and become that new person.
It's not really like a realistic thing to be like, but maybe like... I think it's possible for people to identify and realize what they need to change.
What they need to work on.
And decide if they want to shift from there. So it's like, okay, you haven't fixed your relationship at all probably because you haven't even been with each other since the first day of filming.
Yeah.
But you are more self-aware and you want to invest that self-awareness into your partner versus someone else.
I just don't see any of these couples doing that personally.
Yeah, I think it's too early to tell, but I don't see it either. But I also our viewpoint on Temptation Island.
We're very
little different.
We're just like not optimistic.
Yeah,
we know what it's like.
All right, even it's like, have any of the couples even stayed together since the last 5 seasons, like the last 4 seasons?
So I think the only people that are still together from our season is obviously Shari and Javen.
Right? Are they married?
No.
Okay, so. I'm just saying, people are still working on their shit.
Yeah.
And then who else?
And then season 2, nobody's together.
Okay.
Season 3, Kristen and Julian are the only success story. They're married and happy and healthy and like have a business together. But they're like the exception of the rule. Like, I don't know if you watched season 3.
Yeah.
They're actually
slightly remember.
I could get the chills. Like their engagement and everything, I was tears. Like it's like real love. Yeah. Like it was actually shocking. Yeah. So they're like maybe the 0.01% of TI success stories.
Yeah. I mean, Shari and Javen are still together too.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying as like marriage.
Yeah,
you know.
What about 4?
And then 4, is anyone still? God, who are even the couples? No, I don't think anyone's together. Yeah. Oh, season 3, I think Chelsea and Tom are still together, but they're not like married or engaged or anything. But I think they're still together.
Yeah.
So you guys, the success rate is not high, is basically what we're saying.
Yeah.
Not high.
And I don't think maybe, again, to our point, they don't need to be married because maybe they don't even, maybe that's not even their goal.
Yeah.
Who knows in this world? Like, people don't even want marriage anymore.
But 8, 16, 24, 30, out of 32 couples, 3 are still together.
Yeah. It's a social experiment. That's what they said in our contracts.
I also think, though, too, like what we were saying earlier, if you sign up for TI, because it's like a long process, you guys. It's not just like you get on it. If you sign up, like I feel like you not only need to do, you know that you need to work on yourself, but you also just like your relationship as well. It's just the whole thing's a mess. You're a mess and your relationship is a mess.
Yeah, you have to do like what other tests you have to do? You have to do a bunch of tests.
You have to do an IQ test.
Yeah.
You have to do like a psych test, and it's like fucking 564 questions. Remember that thing? And they even tell you, they're like, if you have to answer honestly. It's basically like multiple choice, and whatever like your first instinct is what you're supposed to bubble in. And they said if you like try to pick like the right answer, they'll be able to tell, and you'll have to retake. Do you remember this? Yeah. You have to like retake the whole thing. So yeah, it was like a resume, like a IQ test, a psych test, a medical evaluation, a psych eval.
A health test.
Yeah. We had to get like our blood drawn, an EKG, STD testing. It was crazy. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I knew we got picked because as soon as we
because Evan's crazy.
Well, not even just that, but I knew because as soon as we finished the 564 questions and we did like our interview upstairs, we came back down, and before we were even able to sit, they were like, you guys are going up to your medical evaluation, and they were like drawing our blood within 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, we're on the show. Like, there's no way they're taking my blood right now, and we're not on it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't remember. It's so long ago, but
so long ago. Okay, so I think that kind of covers season 5. Mark is still hosting.
Yeah. I miss Mark.
Little Marky. He's like our dad. Okay, so let's talk about our season, watching it as, like, who we are today. You guys, for me personally, this is my second time watching it since it aired in real time because I had to watch it for It's Tempting. And I was very I was very nervous about it. I was like, I don't want to get, like, PTSD again. Like, I don't know how I'm going to act. Like, am I really healed? But the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm totally fine. And, like, I'm healed. But, like, it was so cringe, you guys. And then watching it again last night with Nicole, I was like, I'm dying at some of the shit that I said.
Yeah, I know.
Dying.
I just said, like, the difference between watching it when it aired versus now is I, like, truly feel like a viewer.
Yeah.
And I can
like a third party.
Yeah,
removed.
Like third party. Like, I can look at my old self and be like, whoa, I was really like that. Yeah. And I can look at everyone else because we know everyone else now. Yeah. And it's like, damn, you can see how much they grew.
Yeah.
You can see... Like, it's just crazy because you're looking at it from outside the box now. Whereas before it was like, we were just too close to it. We didn't know the first time we ever watched it when it aired, like, we didn't know what they were going to actually show on TV, right?
Yeah.
So it was like us experience we had the experience at the same time they were airing it.
Yeah.
And then we were like, what are they going to show?
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, well, I it's kind of sad to look back and be like, damn, I was really like that.
No, it's hard because like watching both of us, and I feel like I'm worse than you, but like just like the self-love, like we just did not love ourselves, man, and we just the standards.
I just remember, I remember being so scared to like even speak my mind.
Yeah.
And I was already like that in my relationship, like I was scared to speak my mind because it would always be an argument with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he was trying to put his thumb on me to control me in terms of like how to live my life.
Yeah.
And so when I was on TV, I was like, I just don't even know what I want to speak out loud. Like I was paranoid from the cameras. Like I just was a mute, I feel like. And every time they would, like, I'm rewatching these scenes of myself and I just remember being like, yeah, okay. Like I would just keep all my thoughts internalized.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to, one, share it with the world. Mm-hmm. But then two, I was still trying to like figure it out at the same time.
Yeah. I remember like when I first met you, well, we were at the same like final casting in LA. So I remember seeing you there and you were like intimidating and like quiet. And I like.
Everyone always says that.
Yeah.
Why? Because I am not.
Because you're like, just quiet and reserved. You just like mind your own business.
Even a guy the other night, he's like, I've been waiting. Like, we met like technically 2 years ago online. You don't seem that excited to meet me. I'm like, well, who are you? I'm not just going to share all my energy with you right away. I got to protect my energy, see who you are, and then decide if I want to share my energy with you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I was definitely like, that's why people think I'm intimidating. I'm like, no, it's not that. I just like, who are you?
Yeah.
What are you about? Like, are you going to talk shit about me? Do you have my best interest? If you don't, like, I'm not about to sit here and tell you much about my life.
Yeah. He even asked me, he like whispered in my ear, he's like, is Nicole okay? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't know what he's talking about because now I know her super well.
Who, Evan?
No, the guy that we were with the other night.
Oh, yeah.
He like asked me and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, she just seems like something's off. I was like, no, like she's fine, I promise.
And I was
we're just like in the moment.
I was like, what, you think I'm standoffish? She's like, no, it's not that. I'm like, look, you just don't know my personality.
Yeah, that's what I told him too. I was like, you just don't know her.
And I'm like, so once I told him that, he's like, okay, like I get it. But I'm like, don't try to put me in a box. I'll tell you that. Like I haven't opened up to you. Yet.
But I respect that about you. Yeah. And I feel like I've gotten better about that since we've been friends because I used to be really bad about that shit when we first met, which we'll talk into. That's one of our questions in Q&A, like first impressions, like what we were like and then how we are now. But yeah, I remember like seeing you at the casting and I was like intimidated, and then the first few days of filming with you, you were also really sick.
Oh God.
So sick, you guys. She had like the flu, right?
I was so sick and they were like, oh, it'll probably pass in a few days. I'm like, I literally could not speak. So
it was bad.
The first episode and a half, I was just like a mute, and I was drinking tea in one of the episodes.
She was drinking tea like nonstop, and she was pale, and like you could just tell like you were not.
My voice was raspy. Yeah. I was just like, this is so miserable. And so like even yesterday when we were watching the seasons or the episodes, what did we watch? Like 4 or 5 of them?
I think we watched 5 episodes.
And so I was like, wow, I look way better throughout.
Yeah.
The first episode I looked like so tired and quiet, and then it's like as the episodes went on, I feel like I looked better, I looked cuter, my outfits I was more put together
because you were sick. You were really sick too. So I could tell. I didn't even know you well, and I was like worried about you. I remember I was like, oh, I felt so bad because we were like filming 14-hour days, 16-hour days, not getting food, stuck in cars. And I remember I don't even know this girl, but I remember I was like worried about you. I was like, God, that sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, besides being sick, I see how much I've transformed from then till now. And like I said, I think the biggest thing for me is like I was always afraid to speak my mind, which is so ironic and funny because this is just how I know I put in so much work for myself, because the last few weeks since I've left LA, like I was in Chicago for a week and I've been in Florida, and people are like, how are you so like confident? Like you just come in here and like you talk about your life and you're doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, I wasn't always like this. Like it took to go through an experience of like not having any self-worth, which is funny because I had so much self-worth before that relationship. But being in a toxic relationship, it's crazy to just see how much it can bring you down and make you lose yourself. Yeah. And I feel like that happens to a lot of people go through this experience, especially when they're younger. Yeah. And some people never get out of it, which is really sad. And people are in really sad marriages for a lot of their life, and then they get divorced at 50, and then they're like starting their life then. Yeah. So I'm grateful that we went there because I feel like I realized so much, but it's still really sad to see that I was so dependent on like trying to protect my partner, Carl, and just trying to abide by his rules of life instead of living my own life.
Yeah. No, I hate, I'm not gonna lie. I like hate watching myself on TI. Like I always get like DMs and they're like, oh, like I love you so much, like da-da-da. And I'm like, dude, I am like not a good version of myself. It's not a true version of myself.
No, but it was.
No, but like the thing is, like, cause you met me at that time. My like friends and my friends that I grew up with and like my family, they knew what I was like before Evan really took hold of me. And like I was always like so almost like overly confident where it was like my mom and dad would be like, Kaci, you're coming off like arrogant. Like you need to like tone it down.
Okay, Miss Cheerleader.
Exactly. I was like cheer captain, like just like front center, like so confident. And then like Evan got into my life and then over time I turned into TI Kaci. And like it's like so cringe. Like the shit that I'm saying, I'm just like, what in the fuck? Like, why isn't someone telling me to shut the fuck up? Like, it's
because it made for great television.
It made for great television.
Had the best storyline.
It is so cringe, the shit that I'm saying on that show. And I literally had zero love for myself, no confidence. Like everything about me and who I am was like gone.
You were trying to like take it back, like you're like, oh no, I got us into this. Like we weren't actually that bad. You were falling back into the narcissist trap.
I was blaming myself for everything, all his actions and everything he did.
Narcissists make you do
100%.
But you were falling into that trap after like the first episode, after the first bonfire. Immediately you were like, it's my fault. I shouldn't have done it. It wasn't.
I was blaming my family.
It wasn't that bad, and it's just so sad because once you learn about narcissism, it's so easy to spot it. And it's sad that like we dealt with it a little bit. And Carl and Evan had a lot of like similar traits in that regard. But I think Evan just wasn't afraid to show it at all.
No, dude. I think Evan and Carl have a lot of similarities, especially because me and you have talked like personally in depth. But I feel like Evan like churned it up a notch.
Yeah. Or I think he's more on like maybe the psychotic.
A sociopath.
Yeah, sociopath.
Again, I have to say this every episode. No one here is doctors. We're not diagnosing anyone. This is based on our personal experience and our truth. But no, like facts. Like I feel like Carl is like narcissistic tendencies and personality traits. Evan is like sociopath.
Yeah.
Next level.
They're different. Yeah. Like, I mean, I actually ran into Carl the other week, and it's kind of crazy because I was like, wow, that's the first time I've seen him since we broke up.
And it was like fine. You guys were like civil and you just like acknowledged each other and did your thing.
Yeah, we just said like waved, but it was just like, you know, I think he has a good heart, but he battles back and forth with the trauma he's been through. And so unfortunately, trauma that's not dealt with turns into ego, narcissistic behavior, controlling, manipulation. And if you don't work through that trauma, it's gonna
takes you over.
Well, yeah, it takes you over and it has you delivering these things that you don't even realize you're doing to people. Yeah. And it's really sad because there's too many people that do that. And that's why I feel like both of us preach therapy so much because it's not really about like, it's like you do have trauma. We all have trauma. Yeah. But like the people that really, really go through shit through childhood, you need to work through that. And I know Carl went through a lot. So it was just like.
Same with Evan.
It was just like, yeah, unfortunately, maybe you just didn't have people that pushed you in that direction to go to therapy. And I do feel like obviously it's looked at with a positive outlook now versus like generations before, like my family.
And therapy is like a very like, even now there's still taboo on like mental illness and therapy, and we talk about it so much, but we're finally like killing that. But especially for men too.
Oh God.
Especially men like Carl and Evan that are like alpha males, like ripped, tall, you know, like no, dude, like they're not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go to therapy. Like it's like taboo.
It's so funny.
It's so unfortunate though.
Well, even when I meet guys now, I ask them about therapy, and it's like I feel like some men I meet are like, yeah, I've been to therapy. I go to therapy, which is also funny because my therapist tells me just because people say they go to therapy doesn't mean they're working through their shit.
Yeah, 100%.
But then there's other guys I meet still to this day that are like, no, like I've thought about it, but like I've never gone, and I don't know if I would go. And I'm like, all right, well that's a red flag in my brain because it tells me you're not open-minded enough to just give it a try.
Yeah. Plus, like, I think, like, just as a generation and a society and, like, women, we gotta, like, encourage men to go to therapy.
Totally.
That's why I try to, like, post stuff on my Instagram stories and stuff. Like, I think it was just, like, men's, like, mental health awareness, like, month or week or something. Like, we just gotta get better about encouraging them. Like, it doesn't mean you're any less of a man. Like, I think it's sexy. Like, truly. Like, I think it's amazing. If you're, like, if you know you have shit to work through and you have trauma and you're, like, I'm gonna go to therapy and I'm gonna really, like, work on myself and get through this, like, that's hot. And I think the more women that like say that, it's going to help make it easier for men to do that. Because that's what happened to Carl and Evan, both. They just never worked on themselves. Because both of them went through serious shit and tragedy and trauma. And like, I understand it and I have empathy and I feel for it. But it's like, lots of people go through horrible things and you have to work on yourself and go to therapy and fix that so you don't project that shit and start harming and hurting other people.
Yeah, and I know there's other mechanisms like other than therapy, but it's like it's just like life and being successful, right? Like you can find a certain approach that maybe you're trying over and over and over, but if it's not working, it's not the right like mechanism for you. And so maybe you have your own healing pattern or like your own healing process and way you do things, like going to the gym and working out. Like, I feel like I hear people talk about this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but are you actually digging deep?
Yeah.
You need someone to pry open this more shit. Like, and it's just like, I feel like Carl had a lot of his own ways of doing things, like praying and reading and like stuff like that. Like, I will say he was working on it, but it was like, I don't feel like it was in the most effective way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like a lot of people in this world, I don't feel like people are always doing things in an effective way. And it's like, well, is this actually helping you transform and change? If not, you probably need to figure out something else that's like a better fit for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being with the wrong people, you guys, it will really fuck up your life.
I'm just so glad that we are where we are because our self-worth was so low.
Negative.
So low. And like we lost ourselves. We didn't prioritize ourselves. We didn't know like the direction we were going. We were always just putting them in front of our own needs.
Yeah, always.
And that's why now, like the way I'm living and moving, it's like, it's a me era. Like it's like a selfish era.
It's me first. I'm selfish as fuck right now. And honestly, I'm unapologetic about it because I know what it's like when I wasn't like that. And it's like, sorry, like it's me number one. I'm sorry.
Well, it is. But also I think being open, like I said earlier, like in alignment to you.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm in a selfish era, but I'm also willing to share my energy with people that are a good fit for me.
Yes.
I'm not being closed off. Like I think when we came off Temptation Island, we were both very, very closed off.
Very.
Because of like just the healing process. Yeah. And I feel like I was like that for a while.
I was like that for like 2 years.
Yeah, it was a while. And then now it's like, no, I mean, I'm going to put myself first, and whoever acts in alignment or can add value to that, that's who I'm going to invest my time in.
Yeah. That's one thing my dad has like been worried about with me. He's like, I feel like you're too closed off and like you're not giving people chances. And it's like, I hear that because I was like that the first 2 years.
Even a year ago, like you and I were even more like that than now. I feel like we're different now than we were a year ago.
And that's what I told him. It's like, I am closed off and I do have standards, but like exactly what you just said. If someone comes along, like I'm going to give people a chance. Like if you come to me and you are in alignment with what I want to do and I feel good and I feel like you're going to keep my peace and like be on my level and keep me safe, I'm going to give you a solid chance. Like there are men since TI that I've given a chance and they've let me down. Yeah, and I wanted that with them, you know? So I'm not closed off. It's just I'm waiting for the right person that feels right.
You just got to be careful and
you got to be so careful.
My therapist told me when you think you're going slow with somebody, go
slower.
Because it's like every time, even when we do let our guard down and somebody enters in and then it's not it, it's like, well, you moved too fast. Yeah. You got your hopes up way too soon because it was somebody that was giving you a slight.
You felt like it was like, oh, this is different. And then you're like, go 0 to 100. And I struggle with that. So I have to be very careful and I have to like get slow and steady.
Yeah. I think I've learned that even through, because I've only been single for 2 years. Yeah. And the first year was definitely a healing year, pretty much. And then after that, it was like I was exploring all these different things about like having too strong, like being too closed off, and then like being too like, oh my God, this person is different, and being all in. It's like it's a delicate balance.
It's a balance
of yourself, and then figuring out who's going to add value. I like can't say it any other way.
And plus, I know it sounds so cliche, and I say it all the time, but I really preach like listening to your gut. Like I'm so like I listen to what feels right.
Part of the healing process.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, anything else that we're going to say about our season? I'm sure more is going to come up in the Q&A. Yeah. So now, you guys, we're going to go into a little Q&A because we do have some questions. So I'm going to start it out light, and then we're going to get into like the harder ones because we do have some interesting ones. So first off, is Nicole thinking about moving to South Florida with you? So I think we already addressed that. I'm kind of moving here nomad life for the summer, checking it out. I haven't committed yet. Her family's here. We're both the nomad life, right? You're about to go to Europe, so no, you didn't move to South Florida. But like we don't really have like a permanent location or a permanent address, right?
Yeah.
Is that the answer?
I'm just moving to act in alignment with what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to land. I'm going to Europe for the summer. I'm like,
Yep.
I might just end up over there. Maybe I'll live in a different country for a few years.
Yeah. We also talked about going to New York for my birthday in October. It's going to be my first time.
I mean, I know in terms of being in South Florida, like my family is migrating down here from the Midwest. So I want to have a residence in like Miami, Fort Lauderdale area within the next like few years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to always be coming back and forth here because my family is here.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not like pulling the trigger yet. And I'm so close with my family, and like my best friend Carly's back home, and my niece, but like I think even I talked with you. I like love it here.
Yeah, this bitch moves down to Florida in summer, which is the worst
time
season to move here. And I mean, I'm here too right now, and it's so hot.
It's
like I'm
so hot and so humid.
Getting heat exhaustion. I'm like, okay, so technically you just can't really go outside.
No,
people are like, oh, are you getting tan in Florida? I'm like, are you kidding me?
We can't lay out by the pool.
Like I was telling my brothers the other day, it's like poison. Like you're outside, you're out there for 30 minutes. The first 10, 15 minutes are okay. And then at like 20, 25, 30 minutes, you start slowly dying and feeling like you're getting poisoned because you're so hot that I get sleepy. And then I'm like, okay, well now I'm not productive because I'm tired because of the heat. And it's just like,
we definitely understand why people that are from South Florida like go to like the Hamptons or like Pennsylvania or like other areas like during the summer because it's freaking hot as hell. But I love it here. Like I really do.
It's a snowbird state.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I might be like a bi-coastal girl, honestly. I might do like 6 months in LA, like I might spend the summer in LA when it's crazy hot here and humid, and then I might be here.
Can I just say this is the best part about getting older because you can like really do whatever you want because you
have
the money.
The hell you want.
Have the money to provide for yourself. And you can literally just like move around, and especially now with like digital marketing and social media and whatever you can literally run operations online. Like your businesses can be online, so you have more flexibility, which I think is just such a beautiful thing. Like
it's amazing.
Damn, COVID really happened for a reason. Like it really it transformed the whole world in terms of having to be more online, like telehealth, everything. And it's like, you think about all the things that have happened in the past in the world, and it's like, there's always a purpose for it, for why the world transformed into like a new era.
Yeah. COVID taught us that you can live and thrive from online.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That was a wild time.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's really quickly, and we discussed if we were going to talk about this or not. A lot of people, and I get DMs, comments nonstop personally, and I know you get them too. I don't know if you get them as much as me, but people want to know, are you and Shari still friends? And if not, how come?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
I just haven't talked to Shari in years, so that's it. I mean, I just feel like, one, it was a lot of effort for all of us to stay close after Temptation Island. We did go on a lot of trips and did a lot of stuff. But I think we all kind of knew that was probably going to fade out eventually because one was in Dallas. I was in Chicago. Like, you guys were in LA. It was like always traveling and trips.
Well, even at the time, she wasn't even in LA. She was in San Fran, which is like 6.5 hours away.
So I feel like we did that for like a full year, maybe.
Yeah.
Where we were traveling and getting together and doing all this stuff. And then we started doing it as couples. Like, then you were the only single one.
I was single and thriving.
Katie had a new boyfriend. Shari and Javen were there. I was back with Carl, and then it was you. And so, like, I just feel like you just knew up front, like, okay, this is a moment, and these are memories. And
they were amazing moments and amazing memories. Like, we had fun together.
A stage in life, but you knew it wasn't probably going to last forever. But I mean, you and Katie and I hang out so much more now because we all live in the same area. Yeah. And I think Shari lives in LA too. Yeah. But we just didn't stay in touch with her. So I feel like there could be opportunity. Personally, I feel like there could be opportunity for us to reconnect with Shari. I just wasn't there. I wasn't in LA long enough, I feel like, to really explore that. Yeah. But maybe when I come back in the fall, I will reach out to her. But it's not, I don't feel like it's really anything personal. I think about this with anyone in my life. Like, they're not in my life anymore for a reason because maybe we grew apart, which is totally okay. Yeah. I have other friends I've grown apart with, and I just really, at this point in my life, try to look back and look at positive memories for what it was. Like, take it for what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me personally, and I don't want to get like too into it, mine is a little bit different and I feel like a little bit more personal, but I just think that Reader's Digest version, I just think we grew apart, you know? Like, I think we both grew in different directions. I haven't heard from her in literally years. I have no like ill will or hard feelings at all. Like if she reached out to me and wanted to have a conversation, I would be open to it. And I wish her the best. And yeah, I just think we grew in different directions. And I literally haven't heard from her since years.
I mean, let's be honest though. Like we didn't talk to. All of us kind of fell out. Like we didn't talk to Katie for a little bit because she was also in Dallas. But then Katie and I moved to LA which
was so weird because me and Nicole stayed in touch really kind of the whole time. But we didn't talk to Katie for a long time either. And then you were moving to LA and then you told me, you were like, you know what, Katie's moving the same time. Would you be open to seeing Katie?
Yeah.
And then we just all kind of hung out and we were vibing again. It was like a new era.
It was literally, and it was almost like a different relationship because
very different.
Katie like literally is night and day a different
She's
person.
a different human.
I think we all are though.
Yeah.
We're all different.
Yeah.
But I think just not seeing her in so long and then seeing like how
she's
she is
grown
now.
So much. Like I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, but it's like I think, life happens in a interesting way and it's meant for you. Like whatever happens in your life is meant for you. So the fact that we all were united in LA, of course it's easier for us to hang out and stay in touch now because we all lived there.
Yeah.
And like we could do things together. But before it was like we all lived in different areas of the country. Of course we're not going to like be able to sustain that.
Yeah, it's hard. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. Anything else?
On just that topic?
Yeah, I feel like
I feel like we grew apart, but like I just feel like life people re-enter your life for certain reasons, and if that was to happen, like maybe it will, maybe it won't, but again, acting in alignment with just kind of whatever happens and what your gut tells you is, I feel like, all you can really do. Facts.
Love it all. Okay, let's talk what happened with Carl. Especially because everyone knows they broke up on the show. They were apart for a little bit, and then you guys got together for kind of a while. We were going on vacations together. And then they broke up again.
I think the reason we didn't stay broken up after Temptation Island is because, like, I really struggled with knowing if we broke up because of our own issues or if it was because of reality TV and the social media pressure. Because I had never experienced something like that, like so much social media pressure. Like, people kept saying, like, for me and Carl, I feel like our storyline was, like, the most subtle that was aired. And so
100%.
So people kind of were like, what happened? Like, why aren't you guys together? Like, it was just a lot of people back and forth on the storyline. And that got in my head a little bit because people were like, oh, like you got back with your ex. So that makes me feel like I can get back with my ex. Yeah. The other side of the people were like, oh my God, you found so much like empowerment and self-worth in yourself. Like I aspire to be that, which looking back, that was actually the reality. Yeah. But I think the other part of the social media pressure of like, oh, well, you guys seemed so good together. You guys work out together. Like, it didn't seem like you had any issues. Yeah. Are you sure you want to break up? And then people, when we did start hanging out, people were like, oh, I can get back with my ex. This shows like that happily ever after. Shows that true love is still a thing. So that stuff did get in my head for a while. But I think I just needed to go through my own experience of, like, really closing that chapter with Carl. Yeah. And when we got back together for, like, a year, I just realized all the same kind of issues. I will say we worked on our issues a little bit better when we got back together the second time, but it still wasn't full force, and I don't think, like, personally he could ever get over the Temptation Island experience. Yeah, no. And there was just too much trauma, and after we broke up the second time, I went immediately into therapy, like, the next Monday after we broke up. Like, literally the next Monday after we broke up, I went to therapy. I invited Carl to go to therapy with me. He went to one session. He said he didn't want to do it. Yeah. Our therapist was like, you got to cut alcohol out if you guys want to try to work on this. And he's like, well, I can do that, but I don't want to because it's summer. And I'm like, okay, so you're prioritizing all these toxic traits over wanting to work on us. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's it. It just got to the point where it was like, naturally, as people probably imagined, he was cheating. So it was like, it happened again. I was like, okay, clearly we need to break up now because this shit's happened for far too many years. And I had hope that it would change. And I thought we were like investing to change this. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, okay, never again. You don't give people a second chance that have cheated. Yeah. No. Especially more than once. I don't know. Maybe there's people out there where it's happened once.
I don't think so.
I just think if you have inclinations that somebody's cheating or entertaining or not giving you their full attention and not literally giving you their 100%, if it's not 100%, I don't want to do it. Yeah. No. And so I just realized when we got back together that, like, wow, it actually was all those. It just validated that everything was not supposed to be together. And we had a lot of fun together. Like,
yeah,
you know, when we would go on trips and stuff.
No, you guys had so much fun together. And even as like a third party and like a viewer, and like I had like kind of a front row seat to like all of it.
Yeah.
I remember when you guys got back together, and at first I was a little bit hesitant about it. I was like, I don't know about this. But then we like had our trip in LA in December, and that was a vibe. And then we did our ski trip. And you guys did seem like happy and different and fun, and I enjoyed being with you guys.
We just were feeding each other's toxic traits.
Yes.
And making them worse. Like, it was like going into a really bad spiral. But that's a toxic relationship. Yeah. So it's just that I think it ran its course. Unfortunately, I wish it wouldn't have been 5.5 years. But sometimes it takes that long. Sometimes it takes 10 years. I'm just so grateful that, like, I actually probably needed to explore it again to close the chapter.
That's kind of what I was going to say is I think with our season particularly, like the other seasons, like, yeah, like you guys, like you're going to get some like social media stuff, okay? But like our season, I don't think people really understand like
how real it was.
How insane and real, and the amount of like social media and just like public pressure from just like fans and the world. Like it was a lot. And like you guys kind of didn't have like a hard set closure on the show. And then you had so many like what you just said, like social media and like people in your DMs, and it was a lot.
Social media was also different back in 2019 than it is now. Like it's everyone's on social media now. It's a very saturated market. Yeah. Everyone has businesses on there. So like these people that come on there now, they can have a whole strategy aligned around their business. Yeah. And I remember when people told me that when we went on, but I was like, are you kidding me? I'm going through something so traumatic.
Dude, I had like 1,500 followers, and I was literally
I can't even think about
trauma.
it. But I just think like back then, like people weren't as used to social media stuff.
Yeah, we don't even know how to navigate it.
If a normal person, like if my mom or brother was on a, you know, social media now, they would understand like, oh, there's bots on your page that just say crazy shit because that's social media now and everyone's used to it. Back then, 5 years ago, you would get crazy hate comments and you'd be like, whoa, what the hell? What is this? Because like it wasn't as normalized and social media wasn't as popular as it was.
It was so mentally hard, and it would like it really took a toll, and you have to be like so mentally strong to like not let it really fuck with you.
Yeah.
Right? Back then. Now we're like pros, but I'm just saying back then it was wild. It was another time.
Yeah.
And then one last thing I want to say about like you and Carl, one thing I noticed, and I told you this last night, you guys seemed like so happy and stuff, but one thing from being in a toxic relationship with someone that has similar traits, I noticed like when you guys would like have your little like fights off to the side, and you guys would try to like hide it from everyone because you were like embarrassed, and that triggered me because I used to be in that exact same situation where I'm trying to like quiet him down and like I don't want anyone seeing, and I was like, oh, like she's in it, and I was like a little worried for you, but then I was just like, if she's happy, she's happy. But then when I found out that you guys really broke up and you were going to therapy, and then you were kind of opening up to me about like that there was cheating, and you were telling me more and more stuff.
Yeah, for so long. Because even when we broke up, I never really shared the story.
No.
And I never blasted him on social media.
No, you were always so respectful.
I never was like, oh yeah, he cheated, because it's like, I'm like, it's not really anyone's business.
Yeah.
Everyone's asking me, but like I can choose what I want to tell people. But now it's like so far removed. Like
far removed.
I'm sure even if Carl was to tell the same story, he'd be like, yeah, I just wasn't in it.
Yeah.
And like, AKA he cheated. Like, you know what I mean? And it just
you just grew in a different direction. Yeah. Like you really decided to work on yourself.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think people now, that's why I'm so intentional about compatibility in relationships, because it doesn't matter if you have the passion and connection, you need compatibility. Because I think so many times people get into a relationship because of the compassion or
the love.
The physicality of it. And they're not thinking about, okay, is this compatible long term? And then you get into a relationship where you only have that and you don't have the compatibility. Now you're sitting there arguing all the time because you guys don't see eye to eye on really important values and things you want in your life. Yeah. And it makes it super hard down the road to break up because you're like, we've already built it for so long, and you just disregarded the compatibility. Yeah. Versus now, if I meet someone, I started talking to one of my friends not too long. Like, we started building kind of a relationship. I'm like, look, I was open to seeing where this would be, but we're just not compatible. Yeah. And it's fine. But I'm not going to go into a situation like that again, knowing I'm not compatible with somebody, because it's just going to lead to like far bigger issues down the road.
1,000%. This isn't a question, but someone just said, I just want to say you are both living your best lives and it looks amazing on you. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, the transformation.
The transformation is real. We definitely noticed that last night. And I will say, like, it made me so thankful that we went on TI. Like, it really did. Because I was like, I don't know what I would be like today. Like, we wouldn't be sitting here looking like this, talking like this if we didn't go on TI.
Yeah, just the compliments I've gotten lately. Yeah. Or just the comments I've gotten lately from people that I'm just meeting. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, I've never heard people say that before. Like,
because people can just sense our energy. Because we like live different. And just like
it's being really like super,
it's energy.
It's super secure in yourself.
Yeah, very. Okay, what's more attractive? This is actually very hard for me, so I want you to answer first because this is hard. What's more attractive to you, a man's presence or a man's self-awareness?
Like his physical presence?
I think like presence,
or how he presents himself.
I think just like when he walks into a room, like his presence. For me, I feel like that was going to catch my eye immediately as someone's presence.
Yeah, but I think it's both. I think they both go hand in hand.
Right? That's kind of why I think it's hard.
If you're self-aware, you're going to have a good presence.
Exactly.
You're not going to have a good presence if you're not self-aware.
Yes. Okay. That's why I was like, this is hard because they're like kind of the same thing.
Even though people can lie and put on a front.
But I feel like you're not going to have a true like presence if you're not self-aware with who you are and confident with who you are.
Yeah, but presence is everything. If like literally when I was in LA, this guy was like talking to me when we were like leaving this establishment and he was like, hey, where are you going? Like, I kind of want to get your number. I'm like, well, do you want it or do you not? Like, who the fuck are you to come up to me and be wishy-washy? Like, I don't want to talk to you anyway.
That's the thing about us, you guys. We don't like wishy-washy.
Did you
come up here and handle shit?
Hold up. Did you want the phone number or what?
Yeah.
Like I'm not here to like entertain a half-assed man that doesn't know what he wants.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. We don't got the time for it. Don't got the time.
So what is your presence and what's the energy that you're bringing to me? Because I'll feed off that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think you were portrayed as you are on TV? I think like was how we were portrayed on TV accurate? I will say for me, yeah. But it was also like they didn't show like all the times I was having like fun besides that one party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when we played flag football and like my rap and like my impressions, like they edited. Like, everything was very true, and I was heartbroken, and I didn't love myself, and I was a mess, okay? But they also edited out, like, a lot of really fun, happy times where I was, like, the life of the party and, like...
Yeah, you were the life of the party.
You know, just, like, really just, like, having a ball, and all that shit, for the most part, got edited out.
Yeah, because they had to play against the storyline.
I had a storyline, and I respect it, and I'm not gonna, like, blame them, but... That is my only complaint, is I very much was, like, edited into, like, the heartbroken girl, and all my good moments were like, nope, no one's gonna see this shit.
Yeah.
And my, like, badass moments, like when I'm getting in fights with Mark and, like, production.
Yeah, because you can't put the fighting
I know,
on TV.
but I'm just saying, like, they really, like, edited me into a role, which it happens, all of us.
I mean, Katie's role...
Dude, Katie's villain. Okay, we both last night were cracking up at Katie.
We love Katie and she's changed so much, but it's just like...
changed so much, but she was on one on TI.
The shit that she says. I mean, for me, I just feel like I was happy with my edit because I feel like it was a good edit.
You were edited wonderfully.
Yeah, but I also, that is how I portrayed myself.
Yeah.
Because I decided what I wanted to share with them. Yeah. And then there was just so many times that I just like wasn't speaking my mind because I didn't want it to be on TV.
Yeah.
But I was like fine with my edit.
Yours, I feel like yours was very accurate.
And yeah, I mean, it was like the self-aware. It's like the woman who didn't have any self-worth and then she left by herself.
Yeah.
And then she's like buying a condo.
Yeah.
And it's like she turned into this badass, powerful woman. Which
no, it was
I'm
great.
like, okay, that is true. Like that, I do really feel like that's how my life has gone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it didn't just happen in a month.
No.
Like it happened in years. Like even just I went back to Carl and then like we broke up and now it's just like, it's not as easy as they portray it to be. But they're also trying to, you think about production in TV, they have to portray something in a short amount of time. Yeah. So how else would they put it?
Yeah, and plus, like, that just goes into real life as well, and, like, social media. There's no such thing as overnight success. I know that, like, people can make it look like that on social media, but, like, it's, like, it takes years of, like, work and, like, hustling and, like, not giving up to, like, churn into, like, what we are today.
But it's really cool because,
you know,
I think we can have all these thoughts on, like, reality TV and, you know, even just this conversation of everybody coming to listen to this and get the thoughts of it. It's so cool that we have, like, an entertainment outlet in this world.
Yeah, I love it.
To connect to to humans and to people. It's like, we got to put our life on display in our situations. Yeah. And then there was this whole team that got to edit it into a short version that cuts out a lot, but gives you the synopsis of how you can relate it to your life and how you can change based on who you relate to. I'm like, that is so cool. Like,
it's fascinating.
Unfortunately, we had to be like the puppets, but I'm glad because we learned a lot. But at the same time, it's like, it's so cool that we have these outlets to relate. Like, imagine in the old days, like, they were sitting on the farms with no electricity.
I know.
And it's like,
and you can watch
how do we get water? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And now it's like people can watch this and like relate to us and like learn from us and be like, I'm going to take that into my relationship. And even like podcasting, like I was talking to my therapist, like podcasting for me is like therapy. Like I love just like talking things out. I love that people get to listen to it and relate to it. And it's like, it's so cool to just like help people like through entertainment.
And yeah, I mean, everything in this world is about communication and connection. Yeah. So huge.
What's the biggest lesson you learned on TI? I mean, I feel like mine's obvious.
Never lose yourself.
Never lose yourself.
We had like a similar message. Like, I think that's why we also bond so much now. Even now. Like, we'll be going on, like, whatever. We meet men or like we're dating or we tell each other. We share our stories right now. And it's like, we're almost reading each other's mind because we both went through a toxic relationship.
We regularly read each other's minds.
And it's just like, it's so cool to see how self-aware we are now versus back then we both just didn't have any self-worth.
No,
and
none.
It's really sad because it's not, I don't feel like I was born that way.
No.
I feel like unfortunately I met somebody who was a bad, like it was a negative influence in my life. Not saying it was just him, but it was the toxic dynamic that we built together because it takes two to be in a toxic relationship.
I preach
you know what
that.
I mean?
Like I'm not innocent. Like I was like, it takes two to tango. Yeah.
And
like,
so it's just like to see where we were versus now.
Yeah. It's incredible. Crazy. So yeah, I think don't lose yourself because we both 100%, like watching it last night, I was like, whoa. And even people like girlfriends that we hang out with now and they hear us talk and like we give them advice and me and you really like piggyback off of each other. People are always like, you guys are with it. Yeah.
But you know what's crazy? Like I'm even just thinking about us watching the show last night. And I feel like we had the same problem. We just delivered it in a different way. Because we both like lacked self-confidence and self-worth within ourselves because of our partner, because it was a similar situation. Yeah. But me, I was just like a mute. I just didn't speak my mind. Yeah. And that's why it was easy for me to have like kind of an easy edit. Because I thought all the same things you did. Like in my head, I was like, well, that's not true. Like I was trying to protect him in my head, but I would just not voice it out loud. I would just be like, yeah, and that's why Carl would always get so mad at me because he wanted me to be like you.
Yeah, because
I wanted me to protect him and say out loud like, no, Carl's right, he's right, I'm wrong, and it's just like I just kept it in my head.
I was an oversharer,
and you like preached the opposite. Like even when you came back from the first bonfire and you were like, no, it's my fault. I shouldn't have pushed him. Like our problems are so small, and it's like you went complete opposite.
Yeah. 100%. I was like an overshare and I would like blame myself and everything that I was battling within my mind. I was saying out loud. Yeah. And you were the opposite. You were internalizing it. And I even remember like because me and you got really close throughout the show because we like shared a bathroom. You were like
tarantulas.
Yeah, you were like by things that I was saying and like how like much I thought I was like in love with him at the time and I was like such a hopeless romantic. You were like, gosh, like I wish I could love like that.
I was literally like, I don't think I love anyone because I'm not voicing it out loud, but I just realized we were like different in the delivery, but it taught me how to be like have more passion and like compassion for people, not being afraid to like share how you feel about somebody. Yeah, because even if it doesn't work out, it's like you still had that moment in that moment, and you shouldn't be ashamed to share how you feel. Like one thing I learned in therapy is like you can feel your feelings. Yeah. You don't need to suppress your feelings. And I feel like this probably also relates to maybe a lot of women, but also a lot of men too, because men I meet now, I'm like, why are you suppressing your emotions around me? Like I know you like me and you're running away because you're suppressing your emotions and you don't want to share. But I can feel that you are into me and you're scared. Yes. And it's sad because I'm I've been there where I've suppressed my emotions before and now I call guys out like, look, there's no way you don't like there's no way you don't like this situation. You're just scared and you're running. Yeah.
Okay, it's weird because me and her, I've actually never opened up about that to anyone before because I felt like it almost sounds like kind of arrogant in a way. It's like,
no, it's not. It's
I
really
know
not.
this guy's into me and I know he's scared of his feelings and he's running from them.
No, but it's such a common thing.
But yeah, we opened up about that together because we both have experienced that recently. And it's sad. It like makes me sad because I'm like, we would be like so great together if you weren't terrified.
And the funniest thing is it's just like, I know it's not a me problem.
No, it's a you problem.
This is, well, and it's sad. It's
sad.
Too bad, but also I just know I'm not meant for that person.
Exactly.
So I don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Now I just look at it as like, okay, this isn't a good match for me because he obviously hasn't worked on his mental health enough.
He has to work on his mental health. He has to figure out himself. Like, it has nothing to do with me. Like, I know he's into me. I know he feels it too. Because it's like, we're not dumb. We're very in tune with ourselves. Like, you feel it. Yeah. It's like, you have to grow up and you have to work on your mental health.
But I'm not here to tell
you.
And
I'm triggering you. You know?
Yeah, that's what it is. But also, I'm like, do that on your own time. I'm going to find someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have time to sit here and...
I'm not waiting. Like, I'm not an option. Like, I'm leaving you in the dust and I'm going to go find someone that is gonna not be scared to be with me.
Closing the chapter, and closing the chapter is so important because I feel like a lot of people in this day and age like try to keep entertaining something when they know it's not for them. And I think the most like valuable thing I've learned lately is like, okay, when you know it's not for you, move on. Yeah, you're wasting time. You're wasting your youth. Yep, and you're wasting time that you could be happy with someone else. Yep. And even if that someone else is just yourself. Yep, like you could be spending much more valuable time with yourself.
Preach. First impression of the season 1 girls. So I think I already said I was a little bit intimidated by you just because we were so different at the time, which is weird because now that we're so close, we actually are pretty similar. Mm-hmm. But like we just expressed ourselves in different ways. Like I was very much like an oversharer, and
you and Katie were connected too.
Yeah, me and Katie were really tight because of that. Because we were also a little bit older. We overshared a lot, and we were both like unapologetically ourselves. Yeah. Even though I was like I had lost myself, and I wasn't like the true version of myself today, and I didn't love myself. I was very much like. I said my thoughts immediately on camera. Like, I was very easy. Like, they got footage out of me. You were very, like, reserved.
Shari
and you and Shari were very reserved. And Shari kind of scared me, too, because she was very just, like, she just would get, like, upset at little things. And for me, like, I would get along with everyone. I was like, oh, I didn't think they meant it that way. You know? It was just, like, different.
I think Shari and I probably trauma bonded because we were, like,
100%.
We were, like, reading each other's minds, but, like, not having to speak on TV. And we were both, like... nervous to share our really true feelings. And that's why in the beginning you could see that like me and her didn't open up as much. Yeah. And then she even said like, I'm going to open up more.
Yeah. I also knew in my heart, I can't even explain it. I feel like it had to be like a God or universe thing. I knew in my heart that my situation was going to be really bad on TV. And I was like, if I'm not like honest and vulnerable in myself, like it's going to be worse than it already is. You know, like I have to be as like open and honest and vulnerable right now to like make this better because it's going to be really fucking bad.
Oh, wow. See, I had no idea.
You know?
For the first like few days, I was trying to even figure out what Carl and I's storyline was. I was just like, look, I know our relationship isn't working, but I don't know why. Like, I don't know what the story is. Like, when we introduced ourselves, it was like, oh, Nicole and Carl have an age gap. It was like, what? What does that mean? Yeah. It was like, what? What are the issues? I'm like, I don't know. I'm here to figure it out. Like, I don't know what the issues are.
Yeah, you did seem like when I first met you.
I was so confused.
You were like, it was like, why am I here?
Yeah, I was like, why the fuck am I here? And then it was like, not until a couple episodes in, I was like, oh, I didn't realize he was making me be like that.
Yeah. And Katie, for me, she was such like a bull in a china shop. Like I remember she would say things that would just make me cringe. I'd be like, I love you, and like we're vibing, but like, holy shit, why did you just say that?
Even rewatching the episode, I was like, oh my god.
And I would just like sit there and like not say anything because like she's my homie and like we're getting tight, but I'm like, oh god, I wish you didn't say that. That's so bad.
Yeah, she had a horrible edit. Yeah, but she knows it. She
knows it. She owns it.
I love her because she owns it all now.
She is who she is. She owns it completely. And honestly, I've said this to her. She wouldn't mind me saying this. Like, she's grown so much and is so self-aware now. Like, I'm very, very proud of her. Like, she's killing it. What are we currently manifesting? We're almost at the end of the episode, you guys. So I think this is like our last question.
What am I manifesting?
Yeah.
I just really am manifesting a full, rich, peaceful life. And when I say rich, I don't necessarily mean money. Yeah. I want to be happy in every category of my life. And wealth is obviously a part of that. Money is a part of that. But I need a strong support system in my life with my friends, my family, and my future husband. Yeah. And no bullshit, no drama, and anything that's going to bring me peace, happiness, and success.
Yeah. I would say mine is along the same lines. I get like I'm like really into manifestation, you guys. Yeah. I really am. But like I get very specifics with it. So like I really like I want my podcast to blow up. It's already blowing up. Pat on the shoulder, but like I want to like get signed with Barstool Sports or Spotify. I want to own a home or like a condo. I want to find the love of my life. I want it to be like peaceful. My life is very peaceful. I'm so thankful, but I want it to keep being peaceful. I want to keep leveling up. I want to keep getting my money right. I definitely want to get my money more right. I'm at the best point I've ever been in my life, but I want to keep working on that, keep manifesting that.
Yeah, I think the more specific you can be, the better. Like
I get so specific with it, like wildly. Even Katie noticed that. She was like, "Wow," because
you're supposed to.
Yeah, I was like, you have to envision it, like, because she was saying, I want to meet like an artist, like that I'm gonna fall in love with, and I was like, okay, envision like your guys' study in your mansion in Beverly Hills, and their Grammys on the wall, and she's like, "Damn, Case." I was like, "No, dude, you have to envision the life, and you have to pretend to be that person until it's your reality. Like you literally live it, you dress it, you live it, you work it, and then a year, 2 years, it's going to be your reality, period."
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I did last year when I went to Europe for the summer. Like in the summer, I was only there for 2 weeks, but I was like, everyone else is in Europe for the whole summer. I was like, I'm doing that next year. So now I'm going to Europe this Wednesday. In 2 days, I'll be in Europe for the whole summer. And I'm like, I'm going to do it too. I see other people do it. I know we talked about like having specific cars, like you want a G-Wagon.
No, I'm getting, like, you guys, within 5 years, I'm no bullshit. I'm gonna have a matte black G-Wagon. Period. Happening.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have a condo in Florida. Yeah. It's I think the more specific
you have to be specific with it. Like you really, really do, and I believe in that. And it's crazy because I remember being back in high school thinking like, and I was like Calabasas is a small town. At the time, you guys, like there were no Kardashians. Like nobody knew where that was, and like I remember thinking like, I'm going to be on a TV show. Like, I'm going to be, like, an entertainer. Like, and I had all these things. And it, like, didn't necessarily happen within my timeline. But, like, you guys, I've pretty much crossed off, like, everything on my box. And I'm continuing to cross things off my box because, like, I really live that way. And it's hard because, like, growing up, like, I've had family, friends where they're like, you're delusional. Like, it's never going to happen. Like, that's a crazy dream. It's like, you got to cut those people out, man. Delusional is how you're going to get to where you want to go. Yeah. Like, straight up.
Yeah, I mean, I even, I agree. I was just thinking, like, I have clients that I work with on their health and fitness journey, and, like, their mental health comes into it so much. And I was talking to this girl the other day just about, like, setting boundaries with her family, because I'm like, if they're not a good support system for you.
Support system is everything.
On your journey, like, with your health and your fitness, and they're putting you down about losing weight and not being the best that you can be, like, look at how far you've brought yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't really need their support. I know it's hard because it's like aligned back to like your roots of it being your family, but you need to have boundaries within your family so you can keep striving to be where you want to be. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people deal with that.
Yeah.
And this is just something I talk about all the time with my clients in terms of like having a good support system. That's why I've like preached it this whole episode. Like having a strong support system is so crucial for you to even manifest the best life that you can have.
For real. And I'm at the point too where I've had to learn along the boundary line where, like, even, like, my move to Florida, like, packing up my car, driving across the country, I didn't tell a lot of people, unless you were, like, my close inner circle, until, like, I was, like, literally, like, leaving, like, in 2 days, because I didn't want anyone to get into my head. Like, I didn't want anyone to fuck with me. It's, like, anything that I'm really trying to make happen, and I know people aren't going to be, like, gung-ho supportive, and they're going to, like, say something that's going to get in my head and fuck me up, because I do struggle with my mental health and anxiety and depression, and I can overthink. Like, I won't tell people, because I don't want anyone to fuck with me. So I'm, like, I can't have anyone mess with my dream. So I don't tell people until it's, like, reality. Because like they can't get in me.
I mean, I think that's good for even to like building a business and your goals. It's like, you know, you want to tell people after it's already
it's already real.
You don't want to like hype something up that isn't there yet.
Yeah, and I used to have a bad habit of doing that.
Yeah, you want to manifest stuff within yourself and really work on it and work hard, because if you keep telling people you have this thing
and then it
doesn't come to fruition, it's going to like do something to you.
Hit the nail on the head. Yeah. So yeah, I've had to learn that, and I've gotten way better at it. I think that's kind of it.
That was so much.
We talked about a lot, you guys. So I think you guys are going to really like this. I think this is a good episode.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one.
Talk to you like this. We
could talk forever. So. But yeah, you guys, that's kind of it. Our plans for the future. She's about to jet off to Europe. I'm going to probably try to join her at some point. Worst case scenario, we're going to go to New York this fall, probably back to LA, probably Florida. I don't know. We're really winging it. We're really in this nomad life, right?
I mean, I don't feel like I don't want to live nomad life forever.
No, but like right in this moment in time, that's what we're doing. We're seeing where we're going to end up. Right now I'm in Florida. I'm loving it. I might meet her in Europe. I'm definitely going to go to New York for my birthday in October.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that's it, you guys. So let everyone know where we can follow you.
Nicole Kay Fitness is my handle, TikTok, Instagram, the whole works.
All of it. You guys know my personals. Call me KAC. Call me Case. It's Tempting Pod is the Instagram for It's Tempting. Please leave a 5-star review. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you guys have any questions, concerns, it's temptingpod@gmail.com. And yeah, you guys, we got some sponsorships coming up. I can't wait to share with you. I got guests scheduled. And yeah, it's going to be a good time, you guys. I'll see you next week. Love you all. Bye.